Welcome back to the Technology Risk Podcast.
Great to be here.
So today we're diving into something that's, it's been bubbling up in a lot of research and generating some pretty serious warnings lately.
Yeah, we're talking about the potential impact of, advanced AI on those entry-level white-collar jobs.
Exactly. The kind of roles many people start their careers in. And some of the figures being thrown around are, frankly, quite startling.
Mm-hmm. Like that prediction from Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei. He suggested, up to 50% of these jobs could vanish.
50%. And within just 5 years. That's the really striking part, the speed.
It is. We're looking at sectors like, tech, finance, law, consulting. These seem particularly in the firing line.
And the potential fallout. Some sources are talking about unemployment hitting maybe 20%. That's significant.
It's hugely significant. It goes way beyond just economics, right? It's societal.
Absolutely. So our goal today is to really unpack that. Look at the socioeconomic ripple effects, pinpoint the sectors most at risk right now, and, importantly, discuss what can actually be done, strategies for adapting.
How businesses, how individuals can maybe build some resilience against this tide?
Right. It's about understanding the mechanics, not just the headlines. And hey, before we jump in, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the Technology Risk Podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That way, you won't miss future discussions like this one.
Okay, so let's start with the here and now. Where are we actually seeing AI making inroads into these entry-level jobs already?
Well, the sources point to a few key areas. Things like tech support, junior financial analyst roles, paralegals, junior consultants, and a lot of administrative functions.
The classic starting points on the career ladder, really.
Exactly.
And it's not just hypothetical. Take legal services. AI is already doing things like that initial research slog, document review, tasks that were bread and butter for paralegals.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast the tech has moved. I saw a McKinsey stat suggesting, up to 80% of the tasks junior lawyers and paralegals do could potentially be automated now.
80%. Now, that's not the complex strategy, obviously, or client interaction, but it's that heavy lifting, sifting through thousands of documents, finding precedents, summarizing things. Generative AI is just incredibly good at that.
Which explains why this feels so much faster than, say, previous waves of automation.
Definitely. And you see it in finance, too, right? AI doing initial credit risk checks, pulling data for basic reports.
Stuff that used to take hours of junior analyst time.
Precisely. And the adoption rate is pretty aggressive. PwC found 60% of financial firms plan to replace at least half their entry-level jobs with AI systems.
Within 3 years.
Within 3 years, yeah. So not some distant future. It's happening now for many.
Okay, so the immediate job impact is becoming clearer. But let's zoom out. If this trend plays out across the board, what are the big socioeconomic implications we need to think about?
Well, the obvious one is higher unemployment, of course, but it's also about potentially widening economic inequality.
How so?
Because it hits people just starting out, right? Or maybe those trying to switch careers. And think about the knock-on effects in cities heavily reliant on, say, big consulting firms or tech companies if those entry doors start closing.
And if that 20% unemployment figure from Anthropic or something close to it actually materializes in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a societal shock.
It really is. And it fundamentally changes how we think about workforce development. Entry-level jobs aren't just jobs, they're training grounds. They're how you learn, build networks, start climbing.
Right. If those first rungs are missing, how do people even get started?
Exactly. Take that tech support example. If AI help desks take over, where do aspiring IT folks get their initial experience?
It becomes much harder. The Brookings Institution put a number on that, suggesting maybe 70% of recent grads could struggle to find those traditional entry-level white-collar roles within 5 years.
70%. That's a massive challenge for upward mobility, for workforce stability long-term.
And it affects the broader economy too, surely. Fewer jobs, maybe downward pressure on wages. That has to impact consumer spending.
Oh, absolutely. The World Economic Forum estimated that AI-driven job displacement could cut global consumer spending by something like $2.5 trillion a year by 2030.
$2.5 trillion. That's not small change. It's a potential drag on the whole global economy.
It really is.
Okay, so given these potential impacts are so broad, let's drill down a bit. Which specific sectors do the sources say are most exposed right now?
Well, as we've touched on, tech and IT support are definitely up there. Automated chatbots, AI, self-diagnostics. They can handle a lot of the routine support queries.
Gartner put a number on that too, didn't they? Something like 75% of IT support roles at risk within 5 years?
Yeah, 3/4. It's a stark figure for that field.
Okay. What else?
Financial services, as we mentioned. AI is just so good at routine analysis, compliance reporting, even basic customer service tasks. Banks are adopting it fast for reporting and analysis that entry-level staff used to handle.
And legal services. We talked paralegals, but is it broader?
Oh, yeah. Things like reviewing standard contracts, managing discovery documents and lawsuits, summarizing depositions. AI can do a lot of that now. McKinsey thinks maybe 65% of routine legal tasks could be automated by 2027.
Which directly hits the need for junior lawyers and support staff.
Absolutely. And then you've got consulting and professional services. A lot of their entry-level work involves, data gathering, basic analysis, putting together standard reports.
That's ripe for AI.
Exactly. Firms are already using AI for initial market research, generating baseline reports, which reduces the need for those entry-level analysts.
Right. Okay, so the picture of potential displacement is pretty sobering. But it's not all doom and gloom, presumably. What strategies are being talked about to, manage this, to build some resilience?
Yeah, definitely. A huge focus is on reskilling and upskilling. Companies recognizing they need to retrain people for roles that AI can't do easily.
Like what kind of skills?
Things like complex problem solving, creativity, strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, managing complex relationships, the uniquely human stuff.
And there's evidence this works. Investing in reskilling.
There is. Deloitte found businesses that really invest in reskilling see about 40% lower job displacement rates. So it makes a tangible difference.
40% lower. That's significant.
Another big one is fostering human-AI collaboration, not seeing it as replacement, but as augmentation.
Right, the hybrid model. Like your lawyer example, AI does the grunt work, the human does the higher level thinking.
Precisely. It makes the human more productive, potentially shifts their role into something more valuable, rather than eliminating it.
Makes sense. What else?
Expanding career transition programs is crucial. This needs effort from both companies and governments, providing real support, training pathways for people whose jobs do disappear to move into new areas where there's still demand for human skills.
And do those kinds of programs actually help speed things up, getting people back to work?
Yeah, the OECD data shows countries with good transition programs see people find new jobs about 50% faster after major displacement. So they're effective.
Okay. And then there's the bigger picture stuff, right? Like economic safety nets.
Exactly. Some policymakers are looking seriously at things like universal basic income, UBI, or at least significantly strengthening existing social support systems.
To cushion the blow if unemployment does rise significantly. We've seen some pilots of UBI, haven't we? In places like Finland, Canada.
We have. They're testing the feasibility and impact of these kinds of broader support mechanisms.
It's useful to see how this plays out on the ground. Are there real-world examples? Companies that got it right or maybe got it wrong?
Yeah, there are. One positive example often cited is a large financial services firm. They saw this coming and launched a really proactive, big reskilling program for their junior staff.
Okay, and what happened?
They managed to transition something like 70% of those potentially impacted junior employees into new, higher value roles within the company, often working alongside AI tools. They significantly reduced the job losses compared to competitors.
So the lesson is, be proactive, invest in your people, plan ahead.
Pretty much. It shows strategic workforce planning can really mitigate the risks.
And the flip side, an example of it going badly.
Well, there was a case of a mid-sized consulting firm that went hard on automation for entry-level roles purely for cost-cutting, but they did it without any real plan for the people affected.
Uh-oh. I can guess how that ended.
Yeah, not well. High unemployment for those let go, obviously, but also terrible morale inside the company, public backlash, damaged reputation, and they actually became less competitive because they lost institutional knowledge and talent without thinking it through.
Wow. So rushing into it without a transition strategy can backfire badly, not just for the employees, but for the business itself.
Absolutely. It highlights that neglecting the human side of this transition isn't just socially problematic, it's often bad business too.
So preparing for this future isn't just one thing, is it? It needs action from multiple players.
Definitely. Businesses have a huge role, obviously, a corporate responsibility, really. They need to think beyond just efficiency gains and plan for transitions, invest in skills, foster that human-AI partnership.
And governments? What's their role?
Policy is critical. Setting guidelines for responsible AI adoption, funding those support programs for workers, maybe strengthening safety nets like we discussed, creating the right environment.
And education systems have to change too, right? What we teach people needs to adapt.
Massively. Curricula need to shift towards skills that are less likely to be automated. Critical thinking, creativity, complex communication, collaboration, adaptability. Preparing people for a world where they work with AI.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The warnings are pretty clear. AI is posing a real near-term risk to a lot of entry-level white-collar jobs. And that could cause significant socioeconomic disruption.
It could. It's easy to feel a bit fatalistic about it.
But the examples you gave, the strategies, they suggest it's not necessarily inevitable that it leads to mass unemployment or hardship, right? There's agency here.
Exactly. That's the key point. Businesses, policymakers, educators. The ones who are proactive now, who invest in managing this transition, in reskilling, in building support systems, they're the ones likely to navigate this much more successfully.
So the call to action for organizations listening is pretty clear. Understand your specific risks, make reskilling a genuine priority, and maybe advocate for those broader supportive policies too.
It's about making conscious choices now.
Okay, here's maybe a final thought for you to chew on as you listen. While the impact of AI on the types of jobs available feels almost inevitable, the negative consequences, widespread unemployment, inequality, those aren't necessarily set in stone.
Right. Proactive planning, thoughtful implementation, focusing on the human element. That could be the difference between this being a period of displacement versus one of transformation towards a more resilient AI-augmented workforce.
A really critical distinction. Well, thank you for walking us through all that. It's a lot to think about.
My pleasure. It's definitely a conversation we need to keep having.
Absolutely. And remember, to keep up with discussions like this, subscribe to the Technology Risk Podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We'll catch you next time.